I pride myself in operating. Hello, Angela. Hi, Raj. How are you? Nice to see you. In operating like a German train, meaning on time, and I got the wrong time for this event. I want you to know I thought it was 11:15. Completely and entirely my fault, so I apologize for that. So I got that off my chest. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, class. In case, by the way, for you folks who may be superstitious, this is a Friday the 13th that we can celebrate, right? I'm incredibly honored to, Bonnie didn't like that, incredibly honored to be joined by some rock stars here today. Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman is in the house. Bonnie, God bless you. To her left, Senator Shirley Turner, honored. Behind Bonnie, Assemblywoman Verlina Reynolds Jackson. To her left, respectively, Assemblywoman Angela McKnight, all the way in from Hudson County. And to her left, Assemblyman Raj Mukherjee, also in from Hudson County. And to her right, Planned Parenthood Action Fund of New Jersey Executive Director Jackie Cornell. Jackie, great to have you. And we have the woman who needs no introduction, the Commissioner of Health, Judy Percicelli. I'll use a word that is becoming used a lot since the new leadership in Congress, Bonnie. I weaponized Judy the other day. I said we had secret weapons, and the second weapon was one that needed no introduction. So I've hereby weaponized. that was a good use of it as opposed to what you're dealing with, right? We also have, by the way, very importantly, the county executive from this great county, Mercer County, Brian Hughes, is in the house. Brian, always. And to his right, the mayor of the capital city, this great city of Trenton, Reed Gusciora. Reed, great to have you. So in a couple of minutes, and to all of you, welcome. A couple of minutes, I will put pen to paper and sign into law a guarantee that every woman can obtain birth control from a New Jersey pharmacy without a prescription. It's a big deal. And by the way, what word was missing from that sentence? What words were missing from that sentence? And the words are New Jerseyan. This is because we're not just doing what's right for every New Jersey woman, which we are, to make her own decisions. We're also making New Jersey a safe haven for women from states which do not honor, or in the worst case, even recognize their reproductive freedoms. As I said in my State of the State address a couple of days ago, in New Jersey, we trust every woman to make these decisions for herself, period, full stop. And thank you. And the fact that we're here today, on this day, is also significant, because 1 year ago today, I proudly signed the Freedom of Reproductive Choice Act, which made both a woman's right to an abortion and to contraception permanent in New Jersey state law. I know it sounds like I'm shamelessly fishing for applause, so forgive me. That law was signed because we feared for what the right-wing majority on the U.S. Supreme Court would do with regard to abortion rights and all the reproductive health freedoms, which, while not explicit, are inherent within that framework. And remember, before I signed that law, our protections for reproductive freedom were based on case law, which were in turn all based on Roe v. Wade. And we knew that if Roe v. Wade, if that rug were to be pulled out, all of our case law and all of our protections would fall like a house of cards. That law came in January of last year, came just in time because not 6 months later, as we all know, sadly, the court delivered its disastrous, short-sighted, and politically motivated decision. It was a decision that steamrolled decades of precedent. Precedent, by the way, which numerous members of the court swore before Congress they would respect as so-called settled law and erase the protections of reproductive freedoms guaranteed by Roe v. Wade. And had it not been struck down, we would be commemorating Roe's 50th anniversary of preserving those rights in a couple of weeks. In fact, next week on January 22nd. And now lawmakers in some states are going beyond the court's decision to not only erase a woman's right to an abortion, but also trying to erase their right to access birth control. We have long resolved together to make New Jersey the place where these misguided attacks upon women's rights are stopped cold. And I do have to note the sad irony that the draconian policies and laws being proposed are mostly coming from elected officials who are all too eager, this is around the country, to wrap themselves up in the flag. And Bonnie sees this up close and personal every day of her life, and proclaim their state as the most freedom-loving one of all. To them, I quote that classic movie, The Princess Bride, "You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means." You didn't expect to hear from The Princess Bride today, did you, folks? I didn't think so. Derek, thank you. Undoing a woman's right to make the most intimate of decisions for herself, or blocking a couple from making a decision about whether and when to start a family, is the complete opposite of freedom. State law requires insurers to cover a 12-month supply of contraception. Today, we take this a step further by removing a remaining barrier to access to commonly used birth control, which required a prescription. This is the right thing to do, especially for those who do not have ready access to the primary care needed to get that prescription. And that is a big chunk. Sadly, it's a big chunk of our population. And I'm proud to take this step. A quick item to note. This law is going to take some time to implement. There are rules that do need to be put into place, but we're going to push with all due speed and diligence to get those done. Women should not have to wait 1 minute more than necessary. But again, I'm incredibly grateful to the legislators here, especially the prime sponsors, Senator Turner and Assemblywoman Reynolds Jackson, for leading the charge in the State House to get this law to that desk over there for me to sign in a few minutes. I'm ever grateful as well to Planned Parenthood and to the Action Fund, especially, and so many others from across the advocacy landscape for their continued efforts to ensure that the rights of every woman are protected. And with that, before I sign this measure into law, I would like to invite some of the VIPs with us today to come on up and say a few remarks. And I want to begin with Mercer County's own. She battles for our state every single day in Washington and back here, and those battles have become even fiercer of late. Please help me welcome one of my heroes, Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman.
Good morning, everyone. It is so good to see so many of you, County Executive Mayor, legislators, commissioners, friends, and folks who've worked in this space a very long time, Susie. I want to thank you, Governor, for inviting me here today. It's an honor to take part in this day, which I think is an incredible day for New Jersey. As the governor pointed out earlier this week, New Jersey is leading the nation in so many ways. A person's freedom to choose is an important aspect of this. The bill being signed today upholds a message broadcast by last year's Freedom of Reproductive Choice Act, a message to the nation that in New Jersey and around the country, people make their own decisions about what is right for them and their families, and they have a right to make those decisions. Since the Dobbs decision, state legislatures around the country, as the governor has mentioned, have put a stranglehold on freedom, passing laws limiting access to abortion with eyes on restricting the right to access to contraception. This from the states that use terms like freedom, as the governor said, in their state slogans and in their government seals. But in New Jersey, we both talk the talk and walk the walk. In November, everywhere that freedom of choice was on the ballot, the people voted for freedom. This week, in their first week of the new Congress, Republicans decided to start their time in the majority with bills already attacking a woman's autonomy. But today, Thanks to brave and hardworking advocates, a trailblazing legislative team, including my own senator, Senator Shirley Turner, and my Assemblywoman, Relina Reynolds-Jackson, and I am a graduate from the 15th Legislative District, and a governor who is committed to upholding all the rights of all New Jerseyans, our state is leading the nation again. It can't be understated how much this will help our lower income communities. Taking off work every month to renew your prescription for birth control, then stand in line at a pharmacy is not feasible for many people who are working 2 and 3 jobs to make things work for them. This law is not only about reproductive justice, it is about economic justice. And when the maternal mortality rate among black women is 3 times as high as white women, even though our fabulous First Lady's been working on this issue, and when black women are more than 3 times as likely as white women to have uterine fibroids and polycystic ovary syndrome than other women, then this is also racial justice. And so New Jersey has emerged as a beacon of light to people across this country fearing for their rights, for their health, and for their future. This bill will help that light to shine just a bit brighter, and I am delighted and honored and blessed to be a part of this signing today. Thank you.
So well said, and Bonnie, we can't thank you enough for the fight that you fight every day. And you're right. Am I right, the first day they were in charge, they put an abortion bill up. It's extraordinary, the disconnect, and Bonnie mentioned something very important. Not one abortion rights referendum in this country has been defeated, and that includes in places like very red Kansas. So it tells you something, the disconnect between the Supreme Court and the populace, and now between the narrow House Republican leadership and the population. Folks don't want that, and yet these folks keep barreling down that track. It drives all of us crazy, and that's why we're taking action. So it takes a village. You need advocates. We'll get to Planned Parenthood in a minute, and many of you in this room. You need fighters in Washington like Bonnie, and I can't sign a bill unless both chambers stand up and support it. And no one has supported this more strongly, more strenuously, more passionately. Please help me welcome. We're in her district, so everybody better behave. Senator Shirley Turner.
Good morning, everyone. This is more than a good morning. This is a great morning. It's been a long time coming. And Happy New Year to you all. 2023 is starting out on a very high note. And thank you, Governor Murphy, for your unwavering commitment to women's reproductive health by signing this bill today. With the 50th anniversary of the Roe v. Wade decision just 10 days away, I could not be happier because this is the most timely and meaningful time to take this important step to give women greater control over reproductive rights and their lives. The signing of S275 advances women's health care by eliminating the middleman and allowing access to birth control pills at pharmacies without a doctor's prescription. By removing barriers to contraceptives, we reduce the risk of unplanned and unwanted pregnancies and reduce the use of abortions. Providing easier access to the pill improves health outcomes for women and their children. It improves their mental and emotional health and economic stability, as Bonnie indicated. It provides them with greater opportunities to continue their education and advancement in the workplace. A financially secure home, it has less tension, less stress, and makes for happy, healthy, and stable families. Today, we are finally moving our state into a more modern era by recognizing the busy and hectic lives of women. finding the time and money to make an appointment with a doctor in order to get a prescription for birth control is not easy, as women try to balance the responsibilities of jobs, many times multiple jobs, and the many responsibilities of a family. Easy access to pharmacies is a great advantage for women, especially since we have pharmacies in every community, multiple pharmacies, and even some are open 24 hours a day. New Jersey now joins 20 states and the District of Columbia and more than 100 countries in the world in allowing women to obtain birth control pills without a prescription. Again, I want to thank Governor Murphy for his support of reproductive choice and his signing of this groundbreaking legislation, which empowers women, strengthens families, and ultimately benefits the great state of New Jersey. I would also like to thank Assemblywoman Reynolds Jackson and the Assembly sponsors in the Assembly for helping to bring this legislation across the finish line. I also want to thank our illustrious Congresswoman, Bonnie Watson Coleman, for her tireless work and effort at the federal level to protect women's reproductive rights. I am also grateful to my dear friend, Susie Wilson, who has been breaking barriers, blazing trails for women's reproductive rights all of her life, and who has been with me in this long journey from the beginning of the introduction of this bill, which I introduced in 2015. And I want to thank Dr. Maria Sophocles, an OB-GYN, who has testified multiple times in the Senate and the Assembly in support of this legislation. She was so committed, she left her practice on busy days just to come to Trenton and testify to get this bill into action. I also, it's an honor to have the support of the advocacies of these women, as well as Planned Parenthood of New Jersey. It could not have happened without all of us working hard to try to protect a woman's right to choose. And now in New Jersey, we can proudly say that we have finally freed the pill.
Senator, so well said, and thank you for your, did you say 2015? Yes. Well, this has been a long road, huh? Yes, it has. Golly.
But I had to wait for you to be elected governor.
I'm thrilled by that. The only problem is I've now been reelected governor, so it's about time we got to this, right? But God bless you and your colleagues. We'll hear from Verlina in 10 seconds. Susie, I didn't realize Susie was here. Susie is one of the first people I met when it was cold, dark, and lonely. She agreed to allow me to come and have coffee with her in Princeton. And if anyone doesn't know Susie, just know that she's been involved in advocacy since, among other things, working with then-Senator, I believe then-Senator Bobby Kennedy. Those are magical words in this country, and God bless you. It's great to see you. Congratulations to you. So as I say, it takes a village. And within the legislature, you got to go both chambers to bring this thing over the line. So speaking on behalf of Angela and Raj and her colleagues, please help me welcome another great leader, Trenton's own Verlina Reynolds Jackson. Congratulations. And new board member of United Way of Mercer County, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Senator Turner really summed it up well, and I really want to thank her when she said that she's been on this journey for since 2015. I don't think I can say I'm new to the legislature anymore, but it's great to have an amazing partner that you can work with to be able to get this here, and then have an amazing Congresswoman and an amazing governor to finally sign this bill into law. Just shows all of the interactions that we do, and we just don't, bobblehead all the time. We're actually working and we're advocating together. So I want to thank them, and I want to thank my legislative colleagues, Assemblywoman McKnight and Assemblyman McCurgy, for being on the bill as well and helping champion this through. I'm pleased to be here with you all today, and thank you to our advocates as well to expand access to contraceptives for New Jersey. Here in New Jersey, we fight tirelessly to protect the right of women to choose when, if, and how they start a family, ensuring deeply personal decisions can be made without interference. We continue to do more to expand reproductive health care, including today, as the governor has mentioned, the one-year anniversary of the historic Reproductive Rights Act. Over 49% of all pregnancies are unintended, which proves that important role of hormonal contraceptives play in our family planning. Access to contraceptives is crucial for women who want to prevent pregnancies, regulate their menstrual cycle, treat serious, painful menstrual disorders like endometriosis and ovarian cyst. Pharmacists also play a very crucial role. They're a part of our healthcare team. They advise us on medicine, and they also make sure we don't have any interference for any other interactive drugs. We know that disparities in access make it more difficult for women with low income to receive contraceptive methods of their choosing. Expanding access and permitting pharmacists to provide contraceptives will help address these pressing healthcare disparities, ensuring more women take charge of their reproductive health. With the signing of this bill today, we can continue to empower women in our state, New Jersey, and we will continue to build upon the efforts to ensure a woman's body autonomy for all women. So I thank you, Governor Murphy, and I thank you to all our partners for being here today, and I look forward to this bill signing.
Verlina, amen to all. Thank you so much for your leadership, and to your colleagues. Always, these are rock stars. You're in good company, Verlina, as you know. So I mentioned her earlier. I've introduced her at this point probably 1,000 times since I've been governor. Please help me welcome. I've not gotten any more original, I might add. Please help me welcome the woman who needs no introduction, the Commissioner of the Department of Health, Judy Percicelli.
Well, good morning, Governor Murphy, Congresswoman Bonnie, elected officials. I think you all know that providing equitable access to health care for all, not just New Jerseyans, for all, is a foundational goal of the Murphy administration and the Department of Health. Assuring access to all aspects of reproductive health care is part of that goal. The Food and Drug Administration approved the first hormonal oral contraceptive in the United States in 1960, more than 60 years ago. Since then, hundreds of millions of women across the world have used and continue to use hormonal contraceptives, including contraceptive pills. They are using these safely and effectively. Family planning has even been named among the top 10 great public health achievements of the 20th century by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Hormonal contraceptives have given women the ability to make decisions about their own reproductive health. It also helps women who would face increased health risks during a pregnancy to avoid those risks. One of Governor Murphy's first actions, as many of you know, after taking office, was to support meaningful reproductive choice by restoring the funding for family planning services. Yes, yes, resulting in thousands more New Jerseyans gaining access to contraceptives and other essential health screenings and services. The legislation being signed today which will allow pharmacists to provide self-administered hormonal contraceptives to patients without a prescription, further reinforces Governor Murphy's commitment to expanding reproductive health access for women. It puts in place the necessary safeguards and protocols that will protect patient health, safety, and privacy. And the Department of Health is steadfast in its commitment to this effort, and in partnership with the Attorney General's Division of Consumer Affairs, and to raising awareness across all of New Jersey about this expansion of health services and the availability of hormonal contraceptives without a prescription, we will develop the awareness outreach to all of New Jersey as quickly as we can. Today is about access to, thank you. Today is about access to vital health services, and about empowering individuals and families in New Jersey seeking reproductive health care to make decisions that work for them and for their families and for their health needs. Today is about leadership. It's about doing what's right. It's about fulfilling the promise to ensure that all New Jerseyans live long, healthy lives and reach their highest potential. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. It feels like it's ancient history, but it was a brutal history. 8 years in a row, this state did not fund Planned Parenthood. 8 consecutive years, which is extraordinary, but it happened. You and Verlina both hit as well, as did Shirley, the importance that the pharmacies are going to play. It's a big week for pharmacies in this state, because you may have heard the other day that we're going to be the first state in the nation with a weapon to battle the opioid epidemic, which is free and anonymous naloxone at any pharmacy, anytime, up and down the state, which is a big deal. And I think we'd all agree, pharmacies, you don't wake up and roll out of bed and become a pharmacist. These are well-trained, highly licensed professionals. And I think they're finally getting, in our state, the sort of posture and respect that they deserve, and I thank them as a group. Last but not least, I mentioned the organization several times, Planned Parenthood Action Fund of New Jersey, which is an incredibly important ally of ours. Please help me welcome its executive director and former colleague, Jackie Cornell. Come on down, Jackie. Thanks for doing this.
Good morning, everybody. It's so great to be with you. It's so wonderful to see my own Congresswoman here today as well. As mentioned, my name is Jackie Cornell. I'm the Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Action Fund of New Jersey. We advocate on behalf of the tens of thousands of New Jerseyans who come to our 21 health centers every year for essential reproductive health care and for education. We serve people regardless of their ability to pay, which was mentioned several times before, their insurance status, their identity, or now where they call home. I want to thank Governor Murphy, Senator Turner, Assemblywoman Verlina Jackson, Assemblywoman Mukherjee for joining us and doing all of this incredible work that we've done today to pass this important piece of legislation. Your dedication and your leadership on expanding access to contraception is important now more so than ever. While 99% of sexually active women will have used birth control at some point in their lives, many, many struggle to routinely access this important medical need. And they struggle because, as was mentioned, they're juggling multiple jobs, family responsibilities. A recent study from the Guttmacher Institute indicated that when patients were unable to access the preferred method of contraception, they oftentimes just stopped using contraception altogether. We are in a time and a place in which many states are enacting restrictions on more barriers to a full range of reproductive health care. And we are so grateful that here in New Jersey, the work continues to increase access to contraception. As was already mentioned, today marks the one-year historic signing of the Freedom of Reproductive Choice Act. By enshrining the right to abortion into state law, New Jersey remains a national leader in reproductive freedom. Thank you, Governor Murphy, Senate President Scutari, Assembly Speaker Coughlin, for the determination and foresight to work on this bill. Since that historic signing, as was also said, our worst premonitions came true. In June, the United States Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. And today, 18 states and counting, as they bring in new legislative sessions, they are enacting and trying to pass new bills every single day while we are sitting here to eliminate some or all access to abortion. Millions of people throughout the country can no longer receive abortion care. And just this week, as was mentioned, what did Congress do? They work again to undermine the will of the people against what their agenda is in D.C. But here things are different. New Jersey has not only continued to stand up for reproductive freedom, but we've made amazing strides just in this last year alone. We've passed legislation protecting out-of-state patients when they come here for the care that they need. Our state legislature has stood up and has provided not only the restoration of funds, but historic funding for providers by prioritizing training, security, and facilities to meet the demands of this moment. The Department of Banking and Insurance just recently recommended that all state-regulated plans cover abortion, and that's effective this year in 2023. And today, we're increasing access to birth control, an important step in making sure that every person has the full means of both access and rights to make the decisions that are best for their families. But yet, there is a duality in this moment. We are so grateful for the protections that we are granted here in New Jersey, and yet we are still furious that so many Americans are living in places where they are unable to reach or access a full range of reproductive health care. So today we celebrate and we hold up all of the amazing progress that has happened under this administration and with this legislative team here. We look forward to working with you all over the coming months and years to continue to make New Jersey, as was said, a beacon of light, a safe haven, and a harbor for all those who need it. Thank you so much for doing this work.
Thank you, Jackie. Two other quick things before we sign this. I want to give Christine Sadovi, who has an office. I don't know what she did to be punished, but she sits right beside me and has to hear all the crap that goes on in my office. So, but Christine, when we met again way back when it was cold, dark, and lonely, was at Planned Parenthood, and she's become a trusted colleague ever since. So thank you. And I want to underscore something that Jackie said and Bonnie and I were kibitzing about, which is we're becoming a patchwork quilt country. It really now matters where you live and work. It didn't used to matter as much. I guess it always mattered to some extent, but now it's dramatic, and for all the wrong reasons, and sadly, but it's factually, New Jersey's a winner. Whether you're a family, an individual, a company, people are waking up and realizing, you know what? I'm not sure I want to be in state X that limits my rights. And it's not just abortion or reproductive freedom. It's guns, it's voting rights, it's LGBTQIA+, it's the environment. You name it. There's a whole list of values. And you sort of say, you look at where companies are moving and where people are moving, and that's becoming a big factor, which didn't used to be the case. So I'm with Jackie. It's a day to celebrate, but it's also a day with a mournful heart to look at the state of our country. It's one thing, Bonnie, when you have elected officials that govern at odds with the people's will. It'll be a painful couple of years for you, but that's, in my opinion, is going to get corrected, right? Just two. Please God. But because of free and fair elections, may always be that way, that the will and the folks who represent the people finally come back in order. The Supreme Court is a different story, and we're going to be digging out of that for a long time. So enough soapbox from me. Thank you to my superstar colleagues, including Angela and Raj, who did not speak but are with us every single step of the way. Thank you both for coming in from Hudson County. And to each and every one of you, Brian, Reed, Susie, everybody here, thank you so much for your support. As they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap. Let's get this thing signed. You're getting a pen. Come on down and join me. This is the money shot, although I can't see the thing, so I'm going to put my glasses on.
Hey, get down, guys. We could remain.
Everybody here, please.
Yeah, let's get Susie in this.
Yes.
Okay.
I love that.
I love that. Okay. I gotta put my, as my late father would say, my spectacles on. Okay, this is Senate Bill number 275, sponsored by Senator Shirley Turner. And joined, he's not here today, but I want to give a big shout out to your colleague, Joe Vitale. I don't know where Shirley went. And then also in the Assembly, by the, we heard from her, the superstar Trenton native, Verlina Reynolds Jackson. Also joined by Brittany Timberlake, who's not here today, but we give her a shout out in absentia, and then Angela McKnight and Raj Mukherjee, who are with us. And the synopsis, which I always read, permits pharmacists to furnish self-administered hormonal contraceptives pursuant to a standing order in accordance with protocols established by the Board of Pharmacy and the Board of Medical Examiners. And those are the two boards that need to adjudicate this over the next number of months, hopefully sooner than later, and we will make sure we stay on top of this, I promise you. So with that, here we go. Congresswoman, my hero, Bonnie Watson Coleman. God bless you. Senator Shirley Turner.
Right here.
God bless you. Well done, Shirley. Assemblywoman Verlina Reynolds Jackson. Congratulations. God bless you. I should have started saying this in a different language, but I'm going to say it in English. The woman who needs no introduction, Commissioner Judy Percicelli. Congratulations. Planned Parenthood Action Fund's Executive Director of New Jersey, I might add, Jackie Cornell. Jackie? Congratulations. 13th, right? Oh, how could I forget? Assemblyman Raj Mukherjee. Raj, congratulations. I hope not to inject politics in this. I hope sooner than later, Senator Raj Mukherjee. We'll leave that for another day. Assemblywoman Angela McKnight, another one of my heroes. Congratulations. Congratulations. And I'm going to do a couple of, I'm going to call an audible here. Dr. Sophocles, I'm going to give you one of these. Congratulations. And the gal who took me into her home when nobody else would, my hero, Susie Wilson. Susie.
How brave is that?
Exactly. She didn't even make me go through a metal detector.
Congratulations.
Oh, God bless you. Same it. So as they say, this is now, or will be, the law of the land. Let's take a quick shot here. Come on in. Oops, sorry. Susie, Judy, behave yourself.